Hello, everybody. Welcome to a pop-up live, and well, it's a special pop-up live tonight because this is the launch of our P34 challenge. Oh my goodness me, I have got to say, I have wanted to build one of these cars for years, ever since I remember seeing them on the telly back in the mid-70s. And yeah, today I will be building not that particular boxing, but I've got decals for that particular boxing. I will be building the Tamiya Tyrrell P34, but I'll be building it as the 1976 Japan GP winner. Oh, honestly, folks, it's so kind of exciting to actually be building this one. I haven't even started it yet. So before I start, hopefully you can all hear me okay, because this microphone has been playing up again. Mr. Fleming says 6 wheels on my wagon. Very good. I'm glad we're all in a good mood tonight because it's freezing out there. So before we start, I'm just going to go through a quick inventory of the tools that hopefully I will be using tonight, because one of the things that I did before we started was to actually empty my toolbox here and literally just start again. So here we go. This is my daisy. Good start. We're not on the OBS virtual camera. There we go. That is my toolkit for this particular build or this particular project. This is this is where it stands at the moment. So as the project goes on, things will start getting added to it. So what have we got in here? We have got various single bladed nippers. So I've got my original Despy ones. I got the God Hand ones that I bought last year. I've got the SMS ones, and I've got these fantastic SMS double-sided cutters, but these are absolutely superb. We've also got in here the SMS seam scraper, which we will be using tonight. A couple of scalpels and a craft knife, flexi file, sanding stick, toothpicks, hand gel, tweezers, cuddly toy, teas made. You know, that's essentially it. So what I did before I went on the show tonight, I quite literally got a spare toolbox here, and everything that I didn't need just went in there. But I will be dipping into this as the project goes on. But essentially what we need tonight is, it boils down to some Tamiya extra thin, or just some glue of some sort, my beautiful Infinity sanding sponge, a Swan Morton scalpel 10A blade in there, and this is a brand new blade. Doesn't matter whether I've put a fresh blade in at the end of a previous project, I will always start a brand new project with a brand new blade. And my my single bladed nippers, in this case it's the SMS ones, and that is essentially it. So we will see what we add to as we start building. But, and this really is the start of the show tonight, this is what I will be building. Like I say, this is the 1977 boxing, but Mr. Mike Reeves of Arizona in the Americas did send me his decals and his instructions for the 1976 one. So there we go. We've got stickers for the pure blue one. So let's dive into the kit, shall we? One of the things that I did when I was in Frome a year or two back was I treated myself to a set of 1/20th scale seat belts and buckles with a view to building this model, which I've probably had now for probably the best part of nearly 10 years. But I got them. But as you can see, I haven't got anything out of this kit at all. I haven't opened any of the bags. So that's what we will do now. Let's just grab a pair of scissors. How are we all this evening? It's a grey old day out there, but you know, we'll see what we can do. So because this issue is in the two-tone scheme, they molded the upper parts in white to minimize painting, but like I say, that's not going to be an issue because we are going to build it as the pure blue one, of which I've got the required can of Tamiya lacquer spray up on the shelf there. So that's obviously the lower part of the chassis and the intakes and everything. In fact, I'm just having a look there. Yes, you can see these are slightly different in terms of detail. Let's just these are the bits for the 1977 version. These are the bits for the 1976 version. So not a problem. But we won't use these ones. We'll just use these ones. And chrome. Oh, not a fan of chrome parts, but that will probably go into a Tupperware dish with some bleach, and we'll get the chrome off of those. So and what have we got here? Another bag. What do you do on Wednesday night? Watch the confused man from Dudley open plastic bags live on the internet. So we've got some more chrome there. So yeah, like I say, that'll just be going into a thing of bleach. Then we've got some of the looks like some of the wheel hubs and some of the chassis parts. And then we've got bits of the engine there and some of the cockpit and the radiators and the driver figure. Am I going to use the driver figure on this one? Probably not, because we've got that photo etch belt set. So yeah, we'll skip that. And then we've got the engine itself. Do bear in mind, folks, I am an absolute novice when it comes to building cars. So I know the round things are called wheels, so that's pretty much my limit. I've just realised that I haven't got the instruction sheet for the 1977 one. I don't know where that's gone. Oh, we'll find that at some stage. And then we've got the sprue for the engine rather. That's essentially it. It doesn't look overly complex, despite the fact that it's got 6 wheels. But let's dive in. Oh, it doesn't look overly complex, he says, and then the first thing he sees is the engine. Yep, that does look a bit mad. So, and Mike. Thank you, Mike. Mike has sent me one entirely in Japanese, so we might have to go online and download one in English. But yeah, we can crack on with that tonight. But yes, shall we actually start doing some construction? I'm just having a look. Dun, 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 dun. Just having a look to see what's involved with the bodywork. Oh, we'll come to that. There it is. There it is. There. Yep, we'll deal with that as and when we want, as and when we need to. Building a car, how exciting! Let's just sort these bags out, boxes and bags and things. One other thing that I meant to show you was we've got the little bag here with the little washers, the grommets, call them what you will. But Tamir also give you some. They give you some material for wiring, some hosing material. This is the thing that fascinated me as a kid, is the fact that it's got two big fat tires at the back, and then it's got the 4 little skinny ones at the front. How could something like that not fail to fire the imagination of, of a 10-year-old at the time? We've got a bit of clear plastic there. We'll find out what that's for. And we've got some washers there. So if I get stuck with the instructions, I can always just go onto ScaleMates and download the current ones. I don't know where they've gone. Yeah, bit bizarre that. Anyway, let's crack on. Oh, I've also got a piece of gear to try out at some stage, and I am indebted to Mr. Timothy A. Maunder down there in that Dorset for this. And this is, again, it's the wonderful people at Despy, and it's the reciprocating sander. It says, always live up to your love and subvert the time. Okay. And yes, and you can get different sanding heads for it. I've never used one of these, so it will be interesting to give that a go. But it might need charging up beforehand. But anyway, right. Enough of the waffle. Let's build a model, shall we? And let's play catch up with some comments there. Dave Swindle says you only need the chrome parts that were in the bag with the black parts if you're building the 76 car. Okay, thank you, Dave. Like I say, we've got the instructions here for the 76 car in Japanese. I'm just going on to ScaleMates at the moment. Instructions, just making sure I've got the right one here. 1/20th P34 6-wheeler. Yep, here we go. Let's just go and grab the instructions. Yep, we've got them. Excellent. Right, let's build a model, shall we? And what else have we got? Dave Swindle says, did I see a motor on those instructions? You possibly did, Dave. Let me have a look. You know that old saying about always read the instructions before you start? Well, this is certainly true here. I'm just having a look. No, I can't see a motor on these. There's an engine, there's an actual kind of plastic engine, but I can't see a motor. Oh, no, there is. I do beg your pardon. Let's just. There is there. So this is obviously, yeah, it goes in there, but that's immaterial. We're not going to be doing that. So, yep. So let's build a model. Let's have a look. Rob Suto says, evening Spriadix. Andy Brennan says, good evening, car modeling. Eek, I know. Mark Sistrunk says, got my kit inbound, should be here this week. Fabulous, Mark. And Andy King says, I'll be starting my P34 by painting the tyre logos, and if I don't mess them up, I'll build the rest of it. That's a good plan, actually. And I'm just, no, it seems everything's working fine tonight. There's a rarity. So what I'm going to start with, something relatively simple, out of sequence, but I'm going to start with step 12, and step 12 is building the spoiler. Spoilers! I'm going to build a spoiler. So there we go. So that's sprue B. Is it marked on there as B, or it'll be on the sprue map? That's definitely sprue B though. So what you do on Wednesday night? Watch the confused man from Dudley with completely the wrong instructions for his six-wheel Tyrrell. But hey ho. So let's start with B17 and B14. So it'll be, that's B14. Oh, he's actually got parts off the sprue now. This is a model I have wanted to build for years, and I still fancy having a crack at the Matchbox one if I could find a Matchbox one at not an eye-wateringly expensive price. So, so let's just live from Somerset. That's the wrong branding. That. That's more like it. So let's just do a little bit of cleanup on this. So how are we all on this Wednesday evening? You can always pop a comment in the comments and let us know what you're building. So right, let's just deal with that there and that there, and then so I'm just trying to work out what the orientation is based on the Tamiya instructions. There we go. That just goes in like that. Oh, it clicks together perfectly. Yep. That's absolutely gorgeous. So I got someone pinging me like mad on I think Ian wants to join us. Ian, can you give me about 20 minutes so I can actually get some bits done, and then we'll bring you in onto the show. So I do apologise, but yeah, we've got some bits done there. So let's just touch some extra thin on the end there. Let it do its magic, like so. And what have we got? Let's just put that down for a second, and we'll do something else. So I reckon we can do C36 and C14. You sank my battleship. So C36, there they are, C36 and C14. These are looking a little bit like rocket nozzles off of a Saturn V. Been watching Paul Lloyd's build of that. Absolutely brilliant. So let's just nip those bits off there. Rob Suto says, yeah, I'm just going to bring that comment up. Be with you in a second, Rob. Rob Suto says, cripes, just seen there's a Matchbox P34 on eBay for 45 quid. I know, I saw some, and yeah, decide not to bother. And Tony's Hobby Room says, never used Tamiya LP paints, but contemplating a few of the colours listed in the instructions. For the overall blue, I have purchased P34 blue by the company Number 5. That's interesting. Don't think I've ever heard of them now. And Dave says the first few 1/20th original kits were motorized. Okie dokie. That's interesting. I didn't know that. We are the interesting modeling company, so we do like to keep things interesting. So I'm just going to give that a gentle swipe there, where we've had the where we just removed it from the runner. But I'm not going to go too mad, because a lot of this is going to get hidden inside tires. So we are going to need some washers as well. And Ian says number 5 is the paint I showed last Sunday. So Tony's Hobby Room also says, just about to make a start on a Turkish F-16C, but keen to start the P-34, as I have hardly ever made car kits. Me neither, Tony. I do make them occasionally, but every time I make them, I think to myself, I really should make more cars. I just enjoy that kind of out of the comfort zone experience. Also, my late Uncle Roger, he was absolutely nuts on car modelling, and I can remember when we used to go around to my my maternal grandparents' farmhouse. They had an old converted farmhouse in Hurst in Berkshire, and my uncle would be there, and he'd be building something, and I just remember being completely envious of the fact that he could afford these, what to me looked like, you know, exotically expensive car kits. A lot of them were things like Revell dragsters and things, but yeah, that's why I really want to build something like that, just as a kind of like a mark his memory. But I've always wanted to do something like that. So right, there we go. That's that bit done. And we'll do the other one. So we'll just prep the surface with a quick swipe, and then so I'm going to do a Spencer tonight. I'm just going to build up lots of sub-assemblies, and then you know, work from there really. Spencer just has this ridiculously fabulous way of working, where he'll open a box, break everything down into sub-assemblies, and then the next thing you know, he's throwing paint at it. And that's why he is ridiculously talented and I am ridiculously average. So there we go. Right, that's that on there. I will go back and just do a little bit of work on those sprue stubs there, but that's all it needs, is just a gentle swipe of the stick. So I'm going to have these two bits here. I'm just going to pop them back in the box so that they're out of trouble. That's had a couple of minutes to sort itself, so I'm just going to go in, just deal with that. Have a swig of tea or barley cup. Rob Sutter says it looks like JM's making chess pieces. It does a bit, doesn't it? Yeah, that's I'm just trying to find them. They've wandered off. There they go. Yeah, I'm making chess pieces there. Right, let's have a look. That's that way round. So let's. Goodness me, it looks like we're almost going to clear a sprue here, or a frame, to use the correct terminology. So right, this is where you need kind of like 6 pairs of hands, because there's going to be a fair amount of alignment here, but we'll just go in and, oops, a bit too close to the part there. And then we've got B13 there as well. So, oh, come on. So let's just get rid of those bits there. This is why I always start a new project with a fresh blade, because there's no point in trying to kind of like carry on using a blade that is past its best, especially if it's a brand new kit. You know, pence for a blade against pounds for a kit. And in fact, my mentor Chris Ellis, he makes a very similar point in How to Go Plastic Modeling, where he mentions something about people using a blade until it's blunt or it breaks or something like that. Yeah, it's an absolute false economy. So let's just very gently, you're just literally letting the blade glide across the surface until it meets the obstruction, then it gets rid of it for you. Juan Francisco Molinido says, good morning from this side of the pond. Good morning, Juan. The other thing that I've got in the toolbox here is my little bit of Scotch-Brite, which is always very handy for just getting rid of detritus or stuff on the ends of parts. And we've got those little bits there to get rid of. So again, it's just a case of very gently just move my thumb out of the way there, letting the blade do the slicing for you. We'll go back and polish that at some stage. I could do with just a little bit more work on that, because this will be part of what we hope will be a really nice glossy blue finish. So we need these parts to be pretty as flawless as possible at an early stage. So see, one of the other things that I put in my box here, I think this is a Flory sanding sponge, and this is almost like no grit on it, but it's very good for just polishing up bits and pieces. And right, let's do some more gluing, shall we? Right, okay, I see how this works. So yeah, so we've got that effectively slots in there like so, and you've got to make sure that you keep the two holes there. There we go. We've got two little holes there. Keep them at the bottom, because that's where this part of the spoilers drops in like so. One of the things I have noticed is that on this part, and we will zoom in, you can see there we've got a couple of ejection pin marks. To be honest with you, I'm not going to worry about them. It's just going to be a straightforward build. So were this to be something else, I would be a little bit more finicky, but no, I'm just going to be lazy with this one. Sorry, folks, that's probably going to offend somebody that I'm not building it properly. But right, what I'm going to do is use a different different glue this time. I'm going to use the white cap, which is girt thick. And the beauty of this is that I'm just going to get a bit onto the mating surface there, get rid of the excess. I'm just going to let that kind of flash off for a few seconds. Then, when it's nice and tacky, is locate the slot there and then push it in place like so. And that's going to give me time to oh dear, I think we blobbed some glue on there. Goodness me. It's blob glue on his cutting mat. Good job this is the stunt cutting mat, but this is why I have a stunt cutting mat, because as you can see there, it's now started to eat into the grid work. So glad this wasn't my brand new cutting mat. Let's have a look. That goes that way round. There's a lip at the bottom. So the lip goes in. Oops. The lip goes in there like so. Now we've still got to do a bit of cleanup there because we've still got a little bit of plastic on the end there. God, amateur hour. Right. So I'm just double checking the instructions there. Right, there we go. That's popped in place there. So hopefully you can take that one. There we go. Perfect. But it's not quite perfect because it's left us, whoops, it's left us with a little bit of a gap at one end. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go on those little pins there and take them back a little bit. So let's just try and locate these. Oh, this is the problem of trying to do something live, is all your mistakes are magnified. There we go. Right, so that's in there like so. And that's better. Yeah, that's really nice and flush now. So what I am going to do is let's just work out that's the top side, that's the underside. So I'm just going to run a little bead of glue on the underside, simply because if it's less than perfect, then you're not gonna see that it's less than perfect. So, oh, for goodness sake, it's popped out again. Like I say, this is where you need to have an octopus helping you here. Right, I'm going to keep my fingers well clear of those little holes there, just in case anything runs through, and just run a little bit in there. That's more like it. So again, I'm just going to, on the underside, I'm just going to let capillary action do the job for me. And that's fine. That's excellent. Right. Let's put that somewhere safe where I'm not going to suddenly put it on those horrible shiny spots there where I had glue land on my workbench. So, right, let's do some comments now, shall we? So, OBS is currently active. Oh, right. Okay. Nope. I just want to swap cameras over. There we go. OBS playing up there for a second. Right. Let's have a look at some of the comments. Tony's Hobby Room says, you have had some good use out of that Sander JM. Shows the quality of those Infinity items. Indeed. This is still the first one that I bought 2 years ago. It's not delaminated. I've not had any problems with it whatsoever. When it does go a little bit discolored, just take it into the kitchen, put it under the tap with a bit of washing up liquid. That's it. It's nice and clean again. Seriously, folks, if you've not got these, they are worth the investment. Absolutely brilliant. Ian says, don't glue the rear element yet. You'll thank me. Probably a bit too late there, Ian, but I'm just having a look. No, I don't think there's anything else to worry about there. I'm just having a look at the instructions. We'll come to it. We'll deal with that when we come to it. Right, we will. Oh, let's have a couple more. Couple more comments. Do you use water for sanding with Infinity sticks? Says Juan. I do if it looks like it's going to be a particularly troublesome kind of like feature, really. But by and large, no, I just use them dry. It depends what it is I'm working on. But I have wet sanded them before, and in fact, I'm just having a look. I'm looking at you, Italeri Eurofighter, because I had to fill a gap on the underside, and that was with super glue. That I will wet sand, and I find that wet sanding super glue just cuts straight through it. So I do. It depends on what I need it for. So Ian, I am just going to send you the link if you want to pop over and join in. I'm going to have to go at 7 o'clock because I've got another show to do. Surprise, surprise. May involve ghosts. But here we go, Ian. I'm just pinging you over your invite. So there we go. Right, while I'm waiting for Ian, what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue the two parts of the cockpit there as well. So these blessed controls just stopped working after a while. There we go. So let's have a look. Oh, here's Ian. Ian's joined us. So, I'm slightly nervous now because it's a proper car modeler has now joined me. Oh, for goodness sake. It's all right. The OBS has just decided to, there we go. OBS has just decided to stop working. So good evening, Ian. How are you?
All right, mate. I nearly made it in time,
aren't you?
I nearly made it in time. I'm so sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you jumped in. The thing about the rear wing element, at some point you're going to want to trizact that main wing.
Yes.
And if that's not in the way, it makes life easier.
I'm just going to bring you up. I'm just going to bring in the instructions. Why has that stopped working? Settings, OBS, FaceTime camera, OBS camera. Right, here we go. Sorry, OBS has just decided to stop working. So
well, I had that problem with mine.
There we go. No, that's as far as I'm going to take it. It is just going to be. I'm just going to glue it together. I'm not at this stage going to add it there. I'm just going to leave that as its own little sub assembly.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair enough.
And that'll be it.
That's all right.
Yeah, honestly, I will be leaving as much of this model separately so that I can kind of paint and trizact it so that I've got more control over the finish, in theory anyway. Rob Suto says, I like this. Rob Suto says, I'm cracking on with my Revell Germany steam loco. Oh, I'm envious, Rob. I think we might have to do a steam loco challenge, I think.
Is that the big boy, the classic big American one, or is it one of the German military World War II ones? I know they did a couple of those, didn't they?
I'm sure Rob will tell us, and then we can go and find an image.
I remember being asked to build the big boy loco for someone years ago, and very, very generously declining. While you were talking and starting, I decided that rather than build the Tamiya kit first, I'm going to have a go at the Fujimi one.
Okay.
Which is the late car. This is the very late 1977 car. Much wider front track, heavily revised bodywork, different nose. So I thought I'd do that one. So I pulled out from the bags of bits the starting sprue. This was Ronnie Peterson's car from Japan in '76. And what you got me thinking, that Cosworth engine that's in the P34 has been in that standard Cosworth sprue is the basis of the Cosworth engines in every Tamiya 1/20th scale F1 Cosworth powered kit ever since, with extra bits on extra sprues over the years. So down here I've got the Lotus 78 that they issued 15 years ago or so. And it has that same engine sprue in it with variations on all the other sprues to change bits like cylinder heads and things like that.
Yeah.
And I was it came out of a conversation I had at Telford with some friends of mine from the F1 SIG about this. And we were debating what was the best of the 1/20th scale Cosworths. And we came to the decision that sadly it's Ebro. The Ebro one is just beautiful. This Fujimi one, so far, is looking quite nice. Although I have so far only glued 2 parts together.
And
here they are. It seems to be okay. It looks nice. So hopefully this is going to be a little bit of a revelation to me. It's a very long time since I built one of the Fujimi F1 cars. I built a couple of their Ferraris many years ago. So it'll be interesting to see how this one goes. So far, can't say as I'm disappointed with it. The detail looks nice. And we'll go from there. But I haven't got my overhead camera working yet, I'm afraid.
We'll fine tune that. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm still farting around with that and not doing a very good job. Number 5 paint, while we were talking, which was raised earlier. Here we are, number 5 paint from a certain Spanish vendor. I've test sprayed it because I have also from the same manufacturer. McLaren Red. The BR, that was a great little kit. Well, not so little kits, those locos. Now that's the McLaren Red, which is very bright. And early indications are very nice. Very nice indeed. Designed to spray straight out of the bottle, not massively smelly like some brands, and seem to go on quite nicely over Tamiya Grey primer. So hopefully, well, both my cereals are going to be painted with it anyway.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there. But hopefully that is a brand for me to use a little in the future. They've got quite a nice range, and they do these ones which are called number 5 specifics. So their colours match to specifics, as obviously as you'd expect. So, oh yes,
there we go. That's very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're never going to lose it in a car park.
No, like I say, I think at some stage we will do a loco challenge or something. We will do a railway challenge. Because I think that would be fun, and it will get people out of their comfort zones. I am so obsessed this year about people building things that they wouldn't normally do.
Yeah, I think I quite like that idea. We spoke about that again on Sunday, didn't we?
Yeah.
And someone volunteered me apparently to make a ship, which I thought was hilarious.
Yep.
Thanks.
Well, this is the thing. Spence and I know Spencer's always got a busy schedule. But one of the things we were going to do during lockdown was we were going to do the Tamiya Battleship Challenge or something. So no, I'm sure we can do it. Involve other people and just have a a kind of like a build a ship.
Open house thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm just trying to work out the orientation of these parts.
You're doing that. I'll read a couple of these comments.
Sure.
Andy King, are those number 5 paints acrylic or like the Zero paint? They seem to be like the Zero, not quite as pungent and seemingly not quite as aggressive, but they're in a similar vein. They're not. They're most definitely not. He says, doing something which we always tell people not to do. They're definitely not water-based acrylic. And we'll leave that at that. That's interesting.
Are they 1K or 2K?
1K. These are pre-mixed auto colors. So a lot of these brands that are doing these color-matched auto type colors, what they are is basically touch-up paint.
Yeah.
So the stuff the guys that on your cosmetic damage insurance or your spot chip repair guys are using to do your repairs at the outside your house or at the garage and things like that. So very, very effective. And there is an enormous range of matched colors available from various people. Zero is one brand, Gravity another one, although something happened with Gravity and I'm not quite sure what. And obviously number 5.
Did Gravity go down?
Oh, you had to, didn't you?
I had to, yeah.
Something like that. I think there was a fallout somewhere and it all went a little bit wonky. Tony,
range. Okay. Yeah.
If this is out of your comfort zone, good on you, mate. Thanks for joining in.
What was that?
Here
we go. Yeah, Tony. Yeah. I'm well out of my comfort zone, but said looking forward to doing my best on this P34 build. Well, I'm with you. I'm the same there, Tony, because I am not. Although I have built a couple of cars in the past, the number of car models I have built, Ian, cover your ears. The number of car models I've built still exist in single figures, and that's not counting military cars either. So that's not counting Kugelwagens or Schwimmwagens or things like that.
Were you aware of my endeavours for Scale Model World last year?
Go on.
I built 17 for one display.
17 what?
Cars.
Oh, right. Well done. Excellent. Excellent.
It 5 months.
Well,
you know when you're having a conversation with someone and you go, "Tell you what would be really good. I ought to do a display of all the GT40s that started, all the works GT40s that started the race in 1966.
Yeah.
It seemed a good. My catchphrase is, "It seemed a good idea at the time," and clearly it did. Whether it was or not is another matter.
Well, that sounds like that's yeah. I don't think I've ever done anything that I don't think I've ever done anything that mad. 20 years ago, I did build three. I did build three Hella 72nd scale Concords.
Oh,
Yeah, one would be enough for one lifetime. I ended up building three. So yeah, not the easiest kit to put together. Let's put it that way. And yeah, that was an experience. Is the nicest thing I'll say about that.
I remember building one for a model shop I worked in,
Right.
and it never ever got finished. In fact, I believe it was still in the office when they folded. So
yeah.
Ben
Right.
Brown.
Ben Brown's got a question. He says, "Hi folks, bit of an odd one, but after a brush coat of clear, can you polish it with a buffing compound like Novus plastic polish to get a uniform and high sheen? Thanks for a great show." I'll let you answer that one, Ian.
Haven't got a clue.
Okay.
Honestly, haven't got a clue. I have a bottle of clear. There you go. Look at that.
There we go. Goodness me. How 80s of you.
That is the same bottle of clear I bought on the recommendation of Roger Walsgrove.
Mm-hmm.
Sometime in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't used much of it.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, I don't even know why I keep hold of it.
Modeler hangs on to redundant item shocker. There's a thing. John P. Huston says, building all three Italian job minis at the moment. Needs 6 Tamiya kits plus scratch building to complete. Fabulous.
Oh, nice project.
Absolutely fabulous. One of my favorite films, that, for obvious reasons. Talking of which, Ian.
Oh, way up.
Hang about. Let me just.
So, is there something green going to appear in a minute?
Something green is going to appear. Now, I had a slight misadventure with my white roof. It all went horribly Pete Tong, right? Oh. So I ended up kind of sanding it back down. But while I was sanding it back down, I trizacked that green finish again. And oh my goodness me, it's even glossier than it was last time. So, but bear in mind, this is not going to be a concours. It's not going to be a concours finish. This is going to be a representation of my my rusty old green Mini. So it doesn't need to be, it doesn't need to be absolutely perfect and beautiful. Even though my old green Mini in my eyes was perfect and beautiful. I do miss that car, even though I've got something modern and comfortable and much more reliable, he says, with yet another garage bill. It's and Rob Sutto says, hang on a minute, lads, I've got a great idea. I love that. There's a line in the Italian Job where Michael Caine's talking to the guy about the garage and whatever. He's garaged his car, his Aston Martin, and he says he says something about, where have you been? He says, oh, I've been out shooting tigers or whatever. There's a brilliant line, and he goes, yeah, it was a lot of tigers and a lot of lions, something like that. And Ben Brown says, thanks, Andy. Probably not worth the risk. JMHS, I better get some of this Trizac stuff. Yes, absolutely. Get some of this Trizac stuff. And Tony says, Novus is a 3-part process and works well. It's a bit dated now, so you don't tend to hear about it much these days. Used it in the past on a couple of Tamiya motorbike kits, and the process works quite well. So,
I do have all 3 of the Novuses down here, and I use them reasonably frequently. A friend of mine, Lee Croden, who builds some absolutely mad custom cars, he uses Novus almost exclusively in his polishing process. He's rattle canning with automotive paints, and it works really well with those. So yeah, I get it is a little bit dated. It's been around a while. I think it's probably 20, 30 years old now. That said, there's not much progress beyond things like the Trizact abrasive pads. There's not really that much progress in the materials we use. I still fall back on my G12 compound, and my favorite one is this. If I'm using a dark finish, this stuff, this is, yeah. But
is that Auto Glim, is it?
Auto Glim. It's called Ultra Deep Shine for dark colors.
Right.
I think I might possibly need a new bottle.
Okay, I've just gone on to Amazon. Farakla G12 fine finishing compound, 500 ml, currently unavailable. So that's a shame. I suddenly felt the the urge to buy something there, but
there are other brands that do G12.
There are other brands, yeah.
The fun thing is, I think this bottle's got to be 6 or 7 years old. Thinking about it now, and I'm probably only about that far down it, because you know, if you're doing a car, you're going to get through a bottle in a polish job. Doing our stuff, we're going to use tiny amounts. So hence the fact that bottle of
clear
is gone. You know, it traditionally doesn't rattle. That one does. So, you know, but must be used with an advanced G-Mop white waffle polishing pad, it says on the back of that. I have been using, because I have a variable speed drill, I've been using this and turning it down and using those to polish paints with my finishes as well recently. That's an interesting one. Still working on that process. There's a test body behind me somewhere that I do that with, that I tend to play with. So I'm working on that process. Let me just say that.
Yeah, thanks. John P. Huston he's got a better memory than me. He says he uses a machine gun, and the actual line is he says, "I haven't been in this car for so long." Yes, I gather you have been in India for about 2 years, sir. Yes, shooting tigers. Oh, really? That's splendid. You must have shot an awful lot of tigers, sir. Yes, I used a machine gun. So I just love that film. Oh, it's a brilliant film. And Rally Chef says, my project for the next couple of years is to build the cars of the drivers I have catered for over my 25 years as a rally chef on the WRC circuit over the past 25 years, mainly Scoobies. Maybe Scoobies and Fords. So yeah.
Old friend.
I'm just having a quick look.
Known him through Facebook for a very long time. Think I've possibly met him once.
Yeah.
That's Facebook, isn't it? It's the world.
Do you know what the weird thing about Facebook is that I've had people come up and they'll introduce themselves, but because they're saying their name and it's not written down on the screen, I'm just like, the number of times I've trying to remember somebody. If they were to actually write it down on a piece of paper and hold it up in front of them, I'd go, I know exactly who you are. But because they're saying it, I'm like, can't do it. Ian, what we're going to do is we are going to overrun for a few more, probably about another 10 minutes or so, because I can set up ghost stories really quickly. So I'm just going to try and build a few more bits and pieces of this this fabulous Tyrrell. And if anybody else has got any more questions or observations, or indeed a set of English instructions for these, no, I'll just download them off of ScaleMates.
I might have that.
See, no, this, all right, Ian. I've got them. I've found them on ScaleMates.
Right. I missed that conversation.
Bear with.
See, that version is the car. Well, the front end at least is the car you're building.
Yeah,
and is a little bit different. So,
yeah.
By the time you get to the Monaco car, there are some subtle differences between the two. which
Well,
to me is a decent job of reflecting, to be honest.
There's clearly some subtle differences in this one by virtue of the fact, he says, by virtue of the fact that they do give you two completely different front ends cockpits. So, and I think it's down to the it's down to the shape of the intakes on the side. Let me just go for the workshop camera here a second.
So that version you're building is the 1977 Monaco car.
The box is the 77 one, but the one I want to build is the 76 version.
Yeah. So for the initial release, which was, I believe, the Swedish Grand Prix car from 76, it was like the general trend, because through the year there were a lot of changes on this car. It had a completely different nose to start with a great big flat intake on it. There's ones with like a snorkel engine cover and other things that changed. Now I believe over the years various people have made resin conversions to allow you to do those, but the standard kit, which was kit 001 in the series, which is that one beforehand, before they modified it, is a kind of an average for the season version. Later on, Tamiya decided to do some specifics from it. So you've got the first one of the two that was issued, which was the 77 Monaco car, which is a kind of a minimum change option. And so new bodywork, front end. Then they issued it as the one I've got here, which is actually, I'm trying to remember when that came out. It can't be that long ago, this one. I'm going to shock myself now and find out that it's a lot longer. So this is 2009. So this was redone in 2009. With all the photo etch and the revised rear wing to enable you to build the Japanese Grand Prix car from 76, which had that interesting beam wing, which I'm going to find out all about later on. Fujimi have come along and they've done the later cars. Now, for the later cars, there's a much wider track for the front wheels. The problem is, in 77, of course, they developed the car, they've gone with the wider track, they roll the car out at the beginning of the season, you get to Monaco, that isn't the answer. So they revert to the 76 spec car with the modified intakes, which is what Tamiya have represented, which is the box you have. So it goes back to the narrower track and the standard body, albeit still with the First National City, which I think became First National Bank later on, sponsorship. So yeah, quite an interesting story around them. They're quite cool. It's like when you look at the 76-77 season, Lotus were running the Lotus 78, I think it was a 78. Where's my book? In the classic JPS livery, which we all know and love. They turn up in Japan, and because JPS wasn't available in Japan, it runs in a different livery. No, in 77 rather. It was. In which case it runs with an Imperial Tobacco sponsorship.
Right.
In red, burgundy and red. And a scheme that absolutely suited the car down to the ground, if I'm honest. And I will see if I can. And there's a picture of it.
Oh, that's quite nice.
So, the thing with Formula One in that era was that things changed a lot. At the minute, we look at. I think the thing that changes most in Formula One at the minute is the driver's helmet. But there are changes to the chassis and the wings and all that stuff. But it's so subtle and so uniformly run that you can't necessarily always see them. There's no opportunity for someone to do something like the Tyrrell six-wheeler. No opportunity for someone to run things like the Ferrari with the X-wing where there were two vertical mounts on either side of the cockpit with a wing on the top. There is no innovation in that way going on in the sport, and I think sometimes it's the worse for it. I still love my Formula One, but I think someone sooner or later needs to shake that can up really badly.
Yeah. Andy King says, "Lol, I thought it would be easier to model Shermans than F1 cars with all the differences." So yeah, well, I'm just gonna ping you to the workshop camera here, because this is, talk about subtle, but that's the cockpit, the cockpit for the 1976 version. And you can see it's got the teardrop fairing there, and you've got the hole for the intake there, and you've also got that for where the seat goes. But then you go to the 1977 version, and if you look, you can see on the 1977 version you suddenly got two cutouts at the back of behind where the seat goes. But if we look at the side of the cockpit now, you can see that the teardrop is much bigger, and also that intake is now reshaped to accommodate that much bigger intake.
It's a window, if I remember correctly, my friend.
Oh, is it a window? Oh yes, of course it is. Yeah. Of course, it's a window because they provide
teardrop. Sorry, don't mean to talk over you. The teardrop is for the gear shift.
Yeah,
it's where the driver's hand rests for the gear shift.
Oh right, okay. Yep.
Because the cockpit was so conformed around the driver, you had to put a bulge on the side of it for his hand to fit in to work the gear shift.
Yeah, the driver literally wears the car.
Yeah,
and you're right. You're absolutely right, Ian. For the simple reason that Tamiya provide you with a little bag that has some clear plastic in it.
Yeah,
and the clear plastic is cut to shape because it forms these little kind of like windows here. So
by the time you get to this car, the side cockpit sides are much more splayed out. That window is gone because it now has a full wraparound windscreen, which is actually quite noticeable in the side view drawing. See how much shallower that is.
Yeah.
The driver's head is immensely exposed in these cars.
Yeah.
When you look at the modern cars and you look at these, and they're sat right up in them, and their helmets are sat, and then you watch the footage of them doing things like this, and it's like, oh, yeah, no.
Nope. Ian, I'm afraid that's going to have to be it for now. I do apologize. Because I will carry on, and I don't know where my 1977 instructions have gone, but then again, I don't need them. I need the 76 one. So I've just found them on ScaleMates. Interestingly enough, I was having a conversation with somebody today about instruction sheets, and one of the things that I said was about kit companies that do instruction sheets with color backgrounds, color tints to them. And I said that when it comes to trying to print them at home, all it does is chew your printer ink up horribly, right? Whereas Tamiya over decades have not varied from the formula, if you pardon the pun. Something like this, because I'm just about to go and download the English instructions for this one, but something like this, it's clear, it's simple, and it works. And Tamiya don't do fussy. They do what works, and that's it. And so I'm just about to go to ScaleMates and download the 1976 instructions, which I can do because it's not going to eat up all my printer ink. So there we go. That's going to have to be it at the moment. I'm just having a look. Miguel Enriquez says, I am very tempting to start mine. Tamiya 112th, probably not too much time for me, but it is the one I have. Thank you for this awesome time looking, hearing at your great program. Thank you, Miguel. I'll tell you about the 112th possibly at the weekend. But I'll tell you after the show, Ian. So there we go. Like I say, it's a pop-up. It's a pop-up to launch the P34 challenge. So we've got from the beginning of May right through till the end of August. So that's effectively kind of end of April, end of August. So April, May, June, July, August. That's the best part of 4 months, or 16 weeks to build, for you to all join in and build something. So please do, if you've never built a Formula One car before, and even if you end up going out and say buying the Tamiya 1977 one, and even if you just glue it together and don't paint it, just get out of your comfort zone and build it, enjoy it. I did that a few years ago. Actually, the hobby company said we need it's one of the old Italeri, one of the old Eschi Volvos saloons, but we need one built up, but don't paint it because it's molded in color. And I'm like, no, but I've got to paint it. And they're like, no, the point is we need to show people that it's molded in color. Don't paint it. And I'm like, okay. Built it in half a day, right?
Yeah, the thing in it. Yeah.
But there was something rather cathartic about building something as a 50-year-old, building something like I was a 5-year-old. And yeah, I'll dig out the photographs and put them online for that, because like I say, if you've never built a car before and you're worried about the finish, just build it, and we'll figure out the paint finish another time. Anyway, folks, I'm going to crack on here. Well, actually, I'm going to crack on and do another show now. But thank you, everybody who's tuned in tonight. Sorry I haven't had a chance to read out all your comments. Hopefully, we'll be back on Sunday with the Sunday service. There's certainly lots of new kits to talk about. And so P34 challenge. Let's go for it, folks. Thank you to Ian for joining us tonight. And we'll see you. We'll probably do another pop-up live at some stage, but we'll see you all very, very soon. So until then, stay safe, stay out of trouble. See you soon. Bye for now.